I started my company, Boomin Brands Media, 2.5 years ago. And in that time, we've hit almost $2 million in revenue, a majority of that coming in the last year. And although I'm proud of how far we've come, it was only in the last 12 months that I learned something that if I had learned earlier, we would have hit $2 million way sooner. You see, this isn't my first business. I've actually been starting businesses over the last 8 years. But for the first 5 years, I was stuck in the same cycle. I would see a little bit of success and then something would happen and I would have to change my offer, change my messaging, even change my business altogether. And essentially, I'd have to start from zero every time. And I wasn't able to really build anything substantial. In this video, I'm gonna help you skip those 5 years of failed businesses, marginal success, whatever you want to call it. I had it. I'm going to tell you how I'd speed run my way to $100,000 a month in 2026 if I just start all over again and do it from zero. So the first thing is that if you're going to find product market fit, you have to move fast. And in order to showcase this, I'm going to tell you a little bit of story about my last agency, which actually morphed into this agency. So my last agency was called Inbound Realty Media. We were a real estate video marketing agency. We did personal branding videos, listing videos, house tours, all of that in the real estate niche. We're based up in Burlington, Vermont, pretty small market there. It's a city of about 50,000 people, and it's the biggest state in Vermont. There's some problems with an offer like that. The scalability, the need for me to actually be in person doing the work, the overall market size, it's not a scalable or a productized product. We were kind of becoming a commodity, right? Like I remember there were different realtors that started offering video and photo services and they were just undercutting all of us. So it was really getting really hard to stand out. And then the pandemic hit. That kind of forced a big change into us. And after the pandemic hit, we actually pivoted to creating a course to teach realtors and brokers how to film their own videos for social media. The goal of this course was to be able to create something that I was able to live the lifestyle that I wanted to live. And that was traveling the world, living in places like South America and Asia, and not having to be in person filming videos. The problem with the course was it was hard to find that product market fit because me and my partner were a couple digital marketers trying to sell to realtors and there's disconnect there. So we ended up bringing on a broker as a partner. He became the face of the business and we started getting course sales. And I pretty quickly realized that the real business isn't in actually the education here, but it's in the service on the back end. So we were teaching all these people how to edit videos for their social media, but they're like, I'm super busy. I don't have time to edit this. How can I edit these videos? So that's when the seeds of this remote video editing system were born. And we started offering video editing services to realtors. So this is where the seeds of this service, the seeds of the product was there. But I don't know if you've ever worked with realtors, but they can be hard to work with. Sometimes they don't have budget, right? They expect the most for little and they expect it yesterday. So I saw the bigger opportunity in bringing this editing service that I had built into a different market. And essentially that is how Boomin Brands Media was born, where I took this editing service that I built in Inbound Realty Media and I spun it off into its own video editing agency. So I'd found a productized and scalable offer, but I just wasn't in the right market yet. So I essentially took that, rebranded, I created this logo in Canva, still 3 years ago, and I started Boomin Brands Media. And I started off pretty slow. I had this system, I had some editors, I had a little bit of the team, but then I was just going and I was just casting a wide net. I was going for businesses and creators and I didn't have any sort of audience. My messaging wasn't dialed in at all. So I was kind of stuck below 10K a month. I was literally at around $6,000 a month. And I didn't really have any sort of consistent branding. I wasn't putting out my own content. There was a lot of disconnect between who I was targeting and the service that I could offer them. And you see this here in our revenue. This is in 2023. You can see this is when, this is really the first year of business. We're kind of getting some marginal, little by little stacking up. And then this is when the change happened? This is when two things happened. One, I niched down. Instead of being a video editing agency for everybody, I decided to be a white label video editing agency, specifically targeting other agencies and helping them edit videos for their clients. That was the first thing. The second thing is that I started actually running Facebook ads with that messaging. And the rest is history. This is where you can see that things really started to take off. I was running ads, very targeted, very specific, but there are still some problems. I still wasn't putting out content. So you can see here, I've got 6 posts, 722 followers. I'm getting success, getting clients, but it's not anywhere the way that it could be because I haven't really invested much money or resources into creating content to get there. And what I found was that the competition started catching up. People started to see me, whether they're video editing agencies, other people that were trying to start agencies, they started to see the angle that I was taking and they realized that like, hey, actually positioning ourselves to agencies as a video editing agency will yield a lot of results. In order to really continue this growth, so you see we did about, call it $300,000 in 2023. In order to continue this growth, I know we needed to take an edge. We needed to take an edge up on the competition. And this is when we started putting out content. This is when I started really investing in our social media and our video production internally. I started turning the resources on to us. And here you can see it's a very big difference between what our profile looked like before and what it looked like after we started investing in it. And now, even though the competition was popping up, we see that we've even grown almost 3x in 2024. And that's the problem that we see. It's a very common problem where whatever industry it is, when they start to see you having success in that industry, they're gonna copy your offer, they're gonna copy your messaging, they're gonna pop up the exact same business and start to take the market share. And what I call that is essentially like, it's the problem with all blue ocean opportunities where you think you're the only one in there, that you can deliver this service. I call it the copycat effect. And this graph here actually showcases that. So here we can see your business, let's call this the success of your business. And it's going up and it's going up and it's going up. But all the other market competition, they're seeing that. They're seeing your ads. They're seeing your testimonials. They're seeing that you're growing as a company on LinkedIn. And then they start to copy you. And as the competition increases, your success, your market share goes down. It becomes a crazy, crazy environment where people are just giving the most crazy guarantees, the craziest offer. I'm sure you've heard them all. And then the only thing that you can compete on is price. Becomes a race to the bottom. And I've seen this in the editing industry where there's literally people out there offering 30 videos a month for $240. And if you do the mathematics of that, that's less than $8 a video. And they're an agency, so they have expenses, they have overhead, they have to make their profit. They're paying their editors anywhere from $2 to $3 a video, right? Like just coming in at the complete bottom of the market to win market share, and they are. I know a lot of people that have worked with these businesses, but they've worked with them and they just realize like if it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. And this is like a great example. There's this example in many different industries. If you look at Netflix had the first mover advantage, right? They came to market when they were sending DVDs and VHSs in the mail. And then they started their streaming service and they're first to come to the streaming service. But with that success, you see all these other businesses, Amazon, Disney, Apple, you see all these other people jumping on that success, jumping on the bandwagon and taking market share for them. So it's literally across everywhere. So for most people, there's a couple options. You lower your prices to compete, or you move your offer to a different industry and you change your offer altogether. But what I found, the only way to escape this and the only way to keep growing when competition is coming to the market and every bone in your body feels like you need to shift your offer, shift your business, everything like that, is the solution to the copycat effect. And that's branding. That's doubling and tripling and quadrupling down on your brand. And if you think about it, this is the only true way that you can differentiate yourself if somebody is coming and copying everything about your business. It's the only way that you can fend off competition and position yourself as an authority. Think about it. Nobody else has your unique combination of personality, experience, and skills. I'm the only Evan Cassidy, and you're the only you. And this is exactly what we did. We doubled, tripled down on our brand. We got as many testimonials as we could, and we post consistently on social media. And because of that, with all of the other editing agencies popping up, with all of the competition out there, year to date, we're up 20% than where we were a year before. But more importantly, if you look at this right here, we have 1, 2, 3, almost 4 months in a row where we've hit $100,000 of revenue. And I'm not the only one that's saying this, right? There's a lot of people that tell you how important it is to brand and be consistent with it. Look at what Steve Jobs said. Your brand is the single most important investment you can make in your business. So if I were to sum all this up, how I would speed run my way to 100K a month and give you a little bit more tangible resources that you can take and implement today. You focus on one niche and you become an authority in that niche. All of your messaging is directed towards that niche. You focus on one channel and you devote all of the resources you can to flooding that channel with your brand and with your content. That means being consistent with both organic content and not only relying on organic content. Very rarely will you get to 100K a month only relying on organic content. You need to run ads as well. You need to be posting at least 4 to 6 times a week organically, a majority of those being videos. And you need to be testing new creatives, new ad creatives every single month, because especially with the new meta update that came out a couple months ago, the need for split testing creatives and hooks and all of that is more than it's ever been. And the next is to get as many case studies as you possibly can. I can't tell you how many people come on a sales call with me and they compliment the content that we've put out on our page. They compliment all the testimonials that they've seen. Some people will literally come on the call after they've watched 16 of our case studies, of our testimonials. How much easier is it to close somebody after they've watched 16 of your testimonials? A lot. And the next thing is, don't do this alone. This is the job of a few people, right? You don't have to hire a full-time person. You don't have to hire in-house from the United States. There's some amazing talent that you can get in places like South America, Philippines, even Middle East. What you really need to make this system work is a video editor, a social media manager, and a media buyer. This is so you can get out of doing the admin, the tasks. You can focus on being creative, creating like the strategy and the ideas for your content, filming content, and all the other things that it takes for an entrepreneur to grow their business. And if you want help with this is exactly the new offer that we've just launched. It's called the Content Synergy System. And it's a way to essentially help you put out super consistent, tailored content on a consistent basis and supercharge that with an ad system that works together. It works as a flywheel. The organic content are talking to the people coming from the ads. The ads are talking to the people in your sphere of influence, in your realm. And it all works together to drive crazy, crazy results. My calendar is packed with literally 50 sales calls a week sometimes, using these same exact strategies which we're now doing for other businesses. So if you're interested in that, feel free to click a link in the description. Shoot me a DM on Instagram if you have any questions, or if you're not ready for that, subscribe. I'm going to be launching new content every single week. I'm pulling back the hood on this whole system, this engine that I've created, and I'm excited to bring you along.